Wake up! Today's going to be a good day, Deacon. I hope. How was your morning, sir?
My morning's good. How's yours?
It's about in line with the last 24 hours or so.
Awesome.
Yeah. I wake up and I got a message on Discord, and I'm like, what the fuck? And of course, it's somebody yelling at me, being mad at me about my leadership or whatever. I'm like, what are you talking about? Now I let people talk.
What
I
leadership?
Exactly. I'm like, my entire thing is like, let people say whatever they want to each other. Just don't do NSFW stuff. Like, I'm believe in free speech, and that means sometimes people say things you don't like. Oh, we got no sound on somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No audio in the intro, but they can hear me now. That's strange that they couldn't hear the audio in the intro. Okay. Anyway, so drama, kids. It's kids. It's these kids, Deacon.
I deal with kid drama every day in my life, man. So I just kind of ignore it.
Why'd you let so and so say something to me? What do you mean? Why'd I let?
You become the adults. At some point we morphed into an adult to where those types of stuff is just that type of stuff is just those types of things are just whatever.
I mean, yeah. Like, oh.
My kids.
You're gonna say, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say my kids will be arguing over the stupidest stuff sometimes and upset over the stupidest things sometimes. I'm like, okay. And then I start thinking, I'm like, I used to probably, do that.
I mean, yeah, I probably did that. I probably fought over absolute nothings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly, these are like teenagers or whatever, and it's like the same thing. It's like, what, I'm supposed to run around with a whack-a-mole bat and like whack every teenager that acts bad? That's all of you.
I think we failed as parents, and then the generation of the people in front of us that have kids that are like one step in front. It's not really a generation,
Gen
but I guess
Z.
it is.
You talking about the next ones, or the ones behind us?
No,
the next ones, right?
Not the people our parents' age, but they're people that are about 15 years ahead of us that had kids. So these kids are not, you know what I mean? It's like, so we and them failed these children in teaching children. And when I say children, I'm talking about people now that are in their mid-20s and less. Okay.
Right.
Those two sets of parents for those people in their mid-20s and less, we have failed to teach our children some fundamental things about life. And one of them is coping with people that you don't agree with. And if you don't agree with what someone says, we absolutely failed at teaching our children how to just just to go with it. You can have a healthy argument with someone, or a healthy discussion, even a healthy argument with someone that you disagree with, and still respect them, and still, come away with not the.
I mean, you can stop way short of drawing blood.
No kidding.
Way short. You could be like, what you said makes me mad. I guess I'm just gonna drop it.
But people want to draw blood with their words, and they say the most vicious things. And they
know what it sounds like a little bit. It feels like a proxy for no real way to establish a physical presence, or a like in days of old, right? You'd have a lot smaller community, and somebody says something about you, it would be you'd either like take it and everybody talks about you, or you might you might stand up for yourself, and then people would see that, and then you would garner the respect of your community. And at least even if you got pummeled, even if you got your face beat in, it would be like, I mean, he lost the fight, but he didn't roll over. Well, this is 2022. There's nothing like that anymore. You are one minnow in a ocean of minnows, all on the internet, and every one of them just runs their mouth and tries to one up each other. So,
and another thing that I'm seeing, and I kind of feel sorry for people like this. I mean, I'm kind of like this, but I don't display it on the freaking internet all the time. Is these people that, and I don't think you're like this because you are a very happy person, but there are a lot of people out there that are not happy people, and they have a lot of internal, self-doubt and stuff. And I mean, I'll just be honest. I hate myself. I've always hated myself. I mean, I have trouble liking myself. I always,
Really? Oh
absolutely,
no,
my whole
that's
life.
terrible,
And
Deacon.
Ashley knows this. We have conversations about this all the time. So I'm constantly like trying to watch, self-affirming videos and like different things but nothing ever took. So I always have a problem with self-doubt and stuff like that. And so that's something that I have struggled with my entire life. But I don't get on the internet and talk about it all the time. No,
Really?
I
No
don't get
kidding.
on Twitter and talk about, oh, woe is me all the time. I don't understand how people. I've never. That's
I
one
don't know,
thing
man.
I can't grasp. I understand that we all want a little, condolences from people, and we need
Yeah.
a little loving sometimes from people. We need
Well,
people loving, but to
so
and these people just get on there and they're like,
that's
my
true.
life is terrible and I'm going to quit Twitter for a week and please say good thoughts about me. It's like, dude, I felt sorry for you before you got on Twitter. I mean, I would have done that before you fucking started
Yeah.
doing that. Now I don't want
So I don't even really want to talk about Discord all that much, but I do want to say, Deacon, one of the things that I don't really have an agenda with it other than it's a fun, I like for it to
Yeah.
be a fun place to hang out and then
Right.
people can talk about stuff. But I do have, I do have this core belief that people should be allowed to talk, especially with people they don't agree with. So I never wanted to moderate what people said. I always was just like, just stop people from saying stuff that is really inappropriate, like involving children or something in that regard. But I generally don't like to block people. I can't block anybody. Everybody that says awful stuff about me, I have to read all of it because I can't moderate and block. So
Yeah.
I can't block anybody. So, but generally, I'm like, look, if people are saying stuff you don't like, just ignore them. It honestly gets under their skin way worse than anything else.
Yeah. I've
So,
noticed that
I mean,
what gets under people's skin worse than anything is just being nice back to them.
mhm,
If you're just,
right.
overly
Yeah.
nice, pisses them off.
Yeah, because they know that they know internally that they're already out of line.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyway, let's we got a bunch of news to talk about, Deacon.
Okay.
This one hit me yesterday because I know you were dealing with your kind of stuff yesterday. You were not feeling good,
For
and
people that don't know, I have gastroparesis along with everything else that's wrong with me. And gastroparesis is what a lot of diabetics get. And it just basically your food doesn't digest through your stomach the way that it's supposed to, and it'll sit on your stomach for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And it makes you puke all the time, all the time. And I did not feel
so
good. I
awful.
didn't, I mean, I
Yeah.
felt bad yesterday. Bad, bad. So appreciate it.
So I
Oh,
I saw this story come up, and I was like,
gosh,
whoa.
just look at
Uh,
this.
Yeah, 1,000 kids were absent from Virginia school on Friday due to a mystery outbreak.
Now we
So,
just got I got a message, and this is, just a local thing from our neck of the woods, but I think, let me see, it was, uh, so a school really close to here. We have 8 teachers out and kids going home right and left. One class has only 13 kids out of 25. Flu virus, and I understand it's bad. So there's a bad flu virus going around our area right now that's taking out schools.
this appears to be related to the water supply, but this one in Virginia, but it's not that's the weird thing. It's not the only one. Um, so uh, what happened here was in this Virginia town, they turned their water off to public water fountains and that kind of stuff for like 2 years. And then they recently turned the water fountains back on.
What the
And then,
hell?
yeah, but they didn't flush them or something. I don't know. So a news article from the Freelance Star published on October 13th that said that the division conducted testing on 25% of all drinking water sources in the division, and a handful were found to have low levels of Legionella bacteria that can cause pneumonia and flu-like illnesses. So the drinking water sources that came back for Legionella were closed, while the rest of the 25% of the fountains that have been tested have been reopened. So it might be that in this particular town, like the public drinking water supply pipes delivery had bacteria on them, and then people were drinking that, and like tons of kids got sick. But I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that happened up here too in North Carolina." So it's kind of close to where this was. So I don't know if there's actually some sort of a flu going around, maybe. But
It's weird.
Anyway, and then now you have a kind of a similar thing where you have a lot of kids out, but we're getting close to flu season. It might just be regular flu.
And that's why I told Ash last night. I was like, well, I guess flu season's starting a little early this year, because we always have flu season, but now ever since 2 years ago, everybody thinks it's COVID.
Right.
You can't
sneeze. All right, guys, I'm sorry, Deacon was gone for a day, so I have a stack of political stories.
All right, that's cool. Let's just go through them.
Let's do it. Let's do them. So I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but this made me laugh. This is Joe Biden yesterday said, "My legislation says there can be no more than 8 bullets in a round." Now, that sounds like, oh, no, wait, he didn't really say that.
My legislation says there can be no more than 8 bullets in a round, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
8 bullets in a round. And everybody that replied was like, that's awesome. That means that my 15-round clip can now hold like 100 rounds or something. Mm-hmm. So, one, Joe doesn't know anything about guns, he doesn't even know the terminology. It's not 15 bullets per round. It would be rounds in a magazine.
Yeah. So if you had 8 bullets per round, yeah.
So Joe has been, one of the many issues that he's been touting to try to garner political support for, since 2020 is to reinstate the assault weapons ban or assault rifle ban. But the language they have been using the entire time has been to ban assault weapons. If you watch a clip about them talking about gun control, they're talking about ban assault weapons.
That's been what they've been wanting to do for folks that are younger. That's been what they've been wanting to do most of JJ and I's lives.
Right. From the 1980s until 2004, when the Republicans let the assault rifle ban expire, assault rifles or rifles, military style weapons were, prohibited from being purchased. In 2004, the Republican Congress allowed that old legislation to expire, and then people started buying AR-15s, which are a civilian variant of a rifle that's similar to a military style, like it's similar to an M16, but it doesn't.
Pretty awesome to shoot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've shot
Yeah.
M16s. I would love to buy an AR-15, but I ain't got loose change in my pocket.
I know. I got a buddy. I shot a buddy's. So when was it? Was it the early 2000s? Can you remember? Was it the early 2000s when they started to? When we noticed that they had started the soft bullet ban, remember when you could go into Walmart and just buy any bullet you wanted? We could buy 22 bullets all day long in there for cheap. And then I think it was the early 2000s when you just could not find bullets anywhere. You just nowhere. Every place was out. The only people that had bullets were people that loaded their own.
There sometimes are supply scarcities. That happens. That happened less than a year ago.
I was always told that was the way that they control guns now.
Well, that may be true.
They can't control guns, but they can control the ammo to a point, to a degree.
So this assault weapons language that he's using, though, assault weapon is not a real thing. It's not a legal term. It doesn't mean anything.
No.
And it literally is a vagary that isn't defined in law that could be used to include any kind of handgun.
Like the word terrorist.
Right. So just be careful of Joe and his advocating for restricting what you're allowed to have, what your rights are, when he doesn't even know what the words he's using means.
You should always be careful around Joe.
Yeah.
Especially if you're within 5 feet of him.
If you have hair.
No, I'm good, I guess, if Joe ever comes around me. Can you imagine him sniffing my bald head? I would punch
Yeah.
the son of a bitch.
You know, there are so many stories that we don't run stuff on because maybe I just don't have anything to say about it. But like there was
Right.
one last week where
He's
Joe had
sniffing
his
that little
hand on
boy.
like a 12-year-old girl
Oh,
and
yeah.
was like giving her dating advice. And
Yeah,
I
telling
was
her
like,
not to date not to give it up until she was 30 or
you
however he fucking put it. It
put
was
put
weird.
your hands on somebody else's kids,
And did you
Joe.
see him and that guy that was holding his little boy? And the little boy obviously the little boy wasn't scared of Joe. I'm not going to be one of those crazy Republican people. It's like, hey, look, he was scared of Joe. No, he wasn't. He was a little boy. Okay, little kids act that
Yeah,
way. They just act
stranger.
right,
Danger.
stranger. So he was burying his head into his dad's. His dad was sitting there holding him, and his dad standing in front of freaking Joe Biden. And
Right.
I guess the dad was impressed for some reason. And Joe, did you see what he done to the little kid? The little kid had on a little kid suit. They were
Oh, really?
obviously
Okay. I didn't
affluent
see this.
people.
I didn't
They
see
were
this one.
affluent people because the little kid had on a little kid suit. And Joe went like this. If this is the little kid's back buried into his dad and his dad's facing Joe goes like this.
Oh my God.
Rub his fucking nose on the kid's back. It's like, dude, I don't know how
obviously
that enrages me. If I ever saw a grown fucking man, put his nose up against a child or something like that. And it's not your child,
right?
My God, I don't that lights something in me. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about
right. Okay. All right. So boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. So
crazy, man.
and now, they're always trying to get us to ban assault weapons, whatever that means. They're trying to ban guns because, gun crime is so high. Like 50 people died or 50 people were shot last Friday in Chicago, just overnight, just from Friday to Saturday night. Like 50 people were shot over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's obviously because guns are out there. It's not because people are violent.
Well, JJ, if you outlaw guns and you ban guns, that wouldn't happen, right?
Right. Yeah. And, a good guy with a gun never stops a crime. Except here, a good guys with guns end a Monday morning assault yesterday at a St. Louis school.
How about that?
Right. A shooting at Central Visual Performance Arts High School Monday morning. It's yesterday morning. Shortly after 9 was quickly stopped by police inside the building. Fox 2 Now points out that an adult female and a teenager were killed in the shooting. The shooting suspect is deceased as well. Police indicate there were 7 active officers on campus, and there was an exchange of gunfire between the. This is thank you, police in St. Louis. Thank you for guarding the children and not pussing up and cowering in the corner and waiting for the gunfire to stop. Thank you for going in and terminating the threat to the public. There was an exchange of gunfire between the suspect and the police, and the shooting suspect had a long gun and was a man around 20 years old. Police are on site. They reported yesterday morning that the police were on site at the school following the reports of an active shooter, and the school and the collegiate were on lockdown. The shooter was quickly stopped by police inside. We have reports of 2 students injured on the way to the hospital, and sadly, it looks like an adult, one of the teachers and a child were killed, and that is a tragedy. And unlike Uvalde, an entire classroom of children is not dead because the police did their job and they stopped this thing as soon as possible. So,
I feel sorry for that town, man. Those people.
I mean, yeah. And now, this will probably get whipped into more gun control, but and I'm not saying it should be or shouldn't be. I'm saying thank you to the police for going in and not cowering at the end of the hall and going in and taking it down. But we need to have guards on school premises to guard children.
You're right when you're talking about gun control. I'm going to tell you something that I don't know. I might have told you this. I might not have. And for people that are watching, the county that I lived in had a school shooting. My high school that I graduated from had a school shooting 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago. 2 kids died. One of the kids was my first cousin's son. He was my second cousin. And a lot of kids were affected around here and still affecting our county. You know, it's my high school. It's the county that I live in. It still affects us. And the news crews came in. The shooters, one of the shooters' friends at school was a good friend of mine's son. And he was telling me this whole process with the FBI and all this crap, you know, that he was having to go through because his son had no clue. And a lot of the parents around here were talking about how the major television corporations were coming around here and they were asking these kids, they were telling them that they would give them money for interviews and that they could make them, if they gave them interviews, that they would make sure that they would get them all over the news and they would be everywhere. And lot of, because of our area is a major, we're mostly a conservative Republican type area, mostly.
Right.
And so a lot of these people were like, absolutely not. You're not using, no, we're not doing this as a political agenda. Most of the people around here are pretty smart on that kind of stuff, and they refused.
Right.
I had a couple of my friends, one of my really close friends, another one, a different one, his daughter was approached by CNN, and he told CNN, I think he still got the emails. I think he still got the emails of it. He was refusing to do it. So what was the one down in Florida? Stony Brook.
It sounds maybe
the
that
one
sounds
that
right.
Killed a bunch. That was like 2 weeks after our high school. So
really?
they moved to that one. And that one is the one where they got all their sound bites and they got that little fucking kid. What's his name that everybody hates now?
I don't know.
I can't remember his name. We would know it. He's a big liberal mouthpiece now. He was a liberal. He's turned into a liberal mouthpiece as a kid there at the high school talking about gun control. And now I can't remember his name. You would know him.
Oh, yeah. I think I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name right now.
I can't remember his name either, which is not a big deal. But me and my buddies actually talked about that. We were like, well, the media got what they wanted. They realized real quickly that Kentucky was not going to give them what they wanted for their.
But they're making news. They're not reporting news.
Yeah, they had a narrative to tell, and we weren't going to help tell their narrative, so they did not interview any one of us. And as soon as that happened down in Florida, they
thanks
left.
to our chat. I think you're talking about David Hogg. Brian Perkins gave us that.
That's it.
Yeah, David Hogg. Yeah, David Hogg.
Yeah,
he's definitely an activist and an agenda guy.
I kind of feel sorry for this David Hogg guy. I mean, honestly, because he went through a trauma there and whatnot, and he's been used ever since. He was young and naive, and because he was young, and when we're young, we are naive. It's just a fact of life. I'm not calling him a name. And he was naive, and he was taken advantage of, and he was used.
But he's definitely an activist. You know, he has become.
He's a shit stirrer. He likes to get on Twitter and just stir shit on people's pages. I see a lot, and he's not standing up and making a point. He's stirring shit is all he's doing.
Well,
there's a difference between making a point.
I mean, I don't follow David Hogg at all. I as I'm going through things occasionally,
I don't
get referenced or dipped
That's
into
what
stuff.
I'm seeing. I see him reference somebody will say something he said, but
I mean, he's on Twitter. The only thing I can think of in particular is that he tried to come up with a counter to the My Pillow guy, and he was going to make a pillow company. Yeah, it didn't work. Not at all. He's just a total failure.
Hey,
anyway, I don't want to bag on. Yeah,
no, go ahead. You don't want to bag on.
I don't want to bag on David Hogg, especially if he went through a trial. But once you become a public figure, you start advocating for causes. You're no longer a guy that was a victim. You're now you're now part of the agenda, part of the conversation,
you can become talked about.
Yeah. So Mr. E said that on regarding this story from St. Louis yesterday, there were 7 officers on campus and the shooter still got in. Yeah. And you know what? A determined person is going to be able to breach.
Exactly. There's smart people out there. And look at this, 7 officers on campus. And you know what the cops are going to say? We need more money for more security. You bet fucking 7 guys.
Yeah, right.
How many people do we need? Do
I don't know.
None of us need to be a cop?
Right.
That's why we should all
do it.
carry.
Maybe we should live in a police state.
Maybe we should all get our
or
concealed carry. You know,
maybe
we should all get our concealed carry.
let me pull my Constitution out. Maybe we should just all be allowed to have guns and defend ourselves. All right. Brian Perkins says David Hogg wasn't even at the school the day that the thing happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Hey, moving on. So hold on. we're not done yet. Not by a long shot. Maybe this will go faster if I do. No,
we gonna get banned from Twitter today.
I know.
Today.
It's very possible. All right. So Joe Biden not only said that he wants to make sure you only have 8 bullets per round. He also had some. He also had something to say about the student debt. Now, if you remember when this broke, I said this is never going to happen, and then we talked about it a couple times, and we talked about how I'm going to try to get some of this money. But over on Breitbart, watch as Biden says he passed a student loan bailout by a vote or two, but Congress. They never voted on this. This is not law. This is not law. President Joe Biden falsely said that he passed his much ballyhooed student loan bailout package by a vote or two. However, Congress has not voted on this at all. It has not gone to the. In fact, what he's trying to use is an emergency power related to COVID pandemic to basically buy out some of this debt. Here's a short clip of President Joe Biden posted by RNC Research, although there is a longer clip where basically he says the same thing.
Secondly, if you don't have one of those loans, you just get $10,000 written off. It's passed. I got it passed by a vote or two.
No, he didn't. He did not. He didn't get it passed by a vote or two. He's senile. He has dementia. He doesn't know what he's saying most of the time. Joe Biden probably believes that he got it passed. He probably believes that he got his legislative agenda through.
No, this is all front page story to blind the sheep. Okay? This is all this is. That's all that the marijuana thing was. It's we're legalizing marijuana. And then it goes all over the news for a whole day. And it gets passed around to all the sheep, and all the parrots repeat it to each other. Legalizing marijuana. And they repeat it to each other for a couple of days. And then they forget about it. And then they don't look at it anymore, because when November comes around, they're like, "Oh, remember he forgave our student debt. He passed marijuana. He did this. So we're
That's
voting."
Right.
And then
that is exactly what's happening.
Then what happens is 6 people got out of prison for his marijuana thing. 6 total people.
I thought it was 0.
No, yeah, probably it is 0. And the freaking student loan thing will never happen, or it'll take 10 fucking years for it to happen.
Right.
So this is all people don't understand, that it's all a big fucking show.
Oh yeah.
And it's to blind people. We used to say in the media, when we screwed up on the radio and said something that we had to retract, we had to make a big retraction. And I've had to do this a couple of times, make a retraction, and it had to be a big deal. In papers and in the media, they don't have to do that crap. They can print tomorrow, JJ's IQ is 40 on the homepage. And then JJ gets pissed off, and then the next day he's showing them all this crap. My IQ is whatever. And so the very following day, the paper reprints a traction. JJ's IQ was not 40, it's 140. But it's on 8 at the bottom of the fucking page.
Right. Yeah. A previous version of this story. Well, sometimes on the internet ones. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Joe Biden is out there. I mean, the only reason he's on this show doing an interview, kind of an interview, and giving this little speech is absolutely to try to activate young millennial or people 35 and under that have student debt, to try to activate them to go to the polls to make sure that this happens. But
don't be stupid. Don't be stupid.
This is not true. It's a lie. But listen to the conviction with which he says this. He has repeated this so many times, and so few of his brain cells work that he probably does believe it.
You do that, and you will.
Yeah. So
anyway, lie so many times.
I wanted to. Speaking of the economy and voting and just like the whole kit and caboodle. I just wanted to mention this. I think I can do this now. We'll see if it. This is a text message I got from my one of my investment accounts. Year to date, that's this year from January 1st to now, I am down 24.13% in my account.
Oh my God!
Yeah, this is like a 401k account type
well,
thing.
Well, the CEOs have all gotten raises, so they're doing good. So that's not a big deal.
Yeah. So if you want to know what is going to affect the vote, it's not going to be Joe Biden talking about 8 bullets per round. And it's not going to be about him talking about canceling student debt when it's probably not really going to happen. It's going to be this right here, which
People
is
talk about their money.
Yeah. Hey, my gas is up, milk is up, and my account is way down. Dude, 24% loss of my account is brutal.
People forget history, JJ. People forget history.
My wife don't think this is funny.
No, I don't think it's funny either. I don't think it's funny.
Well, I mean, you laugh or you cry, right?
I know. But I mean, people forget history. And what did Marie Antoinette say when they told her that people had no bread to eat? They have no bread to eat. Well, let them eat cake.
Didn't they cut her head off?
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. These dumb fucking rich people don't realize that we're fixing that we can't eat, and they're going, well, if you don't have bread, why don't you eat caviar then, dumbasses? There's fixing to be that.
My wife reminded me that my account is her account. And if I die, that's her money that I'm losing. I didn't do it. It's Joe Biden. It's the economy.
You're a proxy, though. She needs to hit something. She can't throw Joe Biden.
So yesterday, Nancy Pelosi. Oh, we love Nancy Pelosi.
You can't say her name without me. Disgusted sound.
All right, Pelosi Skeletor predicted that Democrats will retain control of Congress. Take it to the bank. That's what she said. Take it to the bank. Well, now, on her behalf, I will, in the defense of Nancy, she is basically a player and is got to pull for her team and try to get people to show up and vote.
She's a player. She's one of the fucking coaches, man. And if she says something, if she's like, take that to the bank, that's because they've already set the fucking shit up and done it underhanded that it's going to happen that way. It's the same thing how her husband got all the goddamn stock shit. They know about it early. They know for sure stuff's coming early. God,
Nancy's out there saying that not only are they are gonna do well in the election, the Democrats, she's saying that they are going to win the House. She says right here, she was asked by Capehart, let me get your reaction quickly. Do you think that comment, which was made by House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy about a blank check, is that a disqualifying comment for someone third in line to the presidency? And she said, was I not clear? We are going to win this election. Just in case you don't know who Kevin McCarthy is, he's kind of right there in the middle. No, Capehart said, no, I understand. She says, it may be. I mean, I don't know if this is disqualifying, but people should take into consideration if they care about democracy. Democracy is on the ballot, not just because of the support for Ukraine, but because of trying to nullify elections, voter suppression, overturning elections because they don't like the outcome. But again, democracy is on the ballot. It totally is.
Democracy on the ballot is a fucking fluff line. It's a bullshit fluff line that every fucking one of them use. If I was going to give a politician something to say, that's a fluff line. Tell them democracy's on the ballot and they need to get out and vote. That's fucking don't piss in my ear and tell me it's fucking rain. I'm not a dumbass. I use fluff lines like that. That's what I do for a living.
So I have been monitoring Real Clear Politics, and we've got some interesting things happening, Deacon. I know that you really love graphs.
What the fuck?
The last time I pulled up Real Clear Politics on the show.
With graphs, man.
I know. Last time I pulled up Real Clear Politics on the show, the RCP projection was that GOP would pick up 2 seats and it would be like 50-50 or 46-46, something like that. Currently, it now says GOP projection plus 3 seats. So an estimate that it'll be on RCP, 47 Senate, 46 Democrats, and there's 3 kind of a couple that are up for grabs. But the New Hampshire race, John Fetterman and Oz, according to the most recent polls, Fetterman's lead has shrunk to 2.2%. Now, he was up +5. It is a Democrat state, but Fetterman's support seems to be waning. Every interview, every video clip that he's in, it's very obvious that he can no longer field a question. If you talk to John Fetterman, he cannot understand the words you're saying. He can't. So he has to have it transcribed. Well, that's true. That's true. And I mean, he very literally has brain damage, and the Democrats are running a brain damage candidate. And that's not a joke. It is a very literal, serious statement. He has had a stroke. He has had brain damage. His auditory processing in his brain does not work anymore. He has to read what you say in order to answer your question.
I worked at an acquired brain injury facility for a little while, when I was working part-time at this one radio station. And he has an acquired, what they call that, an acquired brain injury. It's the same thing as if you went out and got into a car accident and you got a brain injury. Or you hit your head really freaking hard because something fell on your head. You would have, they call it an acquired brain injury. And that's what he has, technically, legally.
I mean, if Fetterman gets this job, a senator representing Pennsylvania, he's going to go to the Senate and Congress, and he's going to sit on the floor. He's going to put on some committees. And then there's going to be debate in committees. And every time, I mean, the way this works, you can go watch it right now. They go to committee, they have some issue. Everybody gets like 2 minutes. They get to ask their questions. They get to hear the answers of whoever they're talking to. They get to speak or whatever. He's not going to understand anything anyone is saying. He's going to be waiting for some machine to transcribe it. Pennsylvania is going, I mean, if John Fetterman's values are what Pennsylvania is after, they're going to be championed by a person who cannot respond to debate. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that Mehmet Oz is better. I mean, honestly, don't know anything about Mehmet Oz. I kind of don't trust him. You know, he's I don't know. I mean, and it's not my state, not my problem, except it's going to be one of there's like 4 states right now that matter in terms of what's going on in the balance of the Congress. Nevada, which is almost always like, you know, traditionally it was Harry Reid's, so it was always a blue seat. Nevada, currently the Republican is leading by 0.08. That's a little bit like, wow, okay. The Democrat incumbent Kelly, his lead has shrunk to 2.2 from 4. So the Democrat advantage is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So that's where we're at in terms of, I think there's a couple of other states. Maybe it's not, is it Georgia? Yeah, Georgia, the Warnock and Herschel Walker race. The lead is has shrunk to 0.3. So from a 1 or 2 point advantage Democrat, it is now shrunk to like basically a neck and neck tie over there. So we have a lot of interesting races that we can be watching on returns night.
Sweet.
All right. Here, this is basically, I just covered this, right? Yeah. Mehmet Oz leads John Fetterman by 4 in a poll by political polls here. Oz was actually ahead, which that alone is unheard of. Just that a Republican would be leading a Democrat in Pennsylvania. That is quite strange. All right. So I saw you post this story yesterday, sir. I think we're done with politics. I think we're done with Paul. Oh no, I'm sorry. I apologize. We have this. Mr.
Yeah,
E
go ahead.
posted this in. Mr. E posted this yesterday. Justice Thomas has ordered issued an order preventing Lindsey Graham from testifying in a Georgia election probe. So Justice Thomas signed this order, an order that was applied for by Lindsey Graham. So a grand jury basically issued a subpoena to Lindsey Graham to testify in this election interference case there. The Lindsey Graham applied to the Supreme Court to say basically his argument was, I'm a sitting legislator. I am immune from this kind of stuff. And Justice Thomas of the Supreme Court ordered the upon consideration of the applicant, it is ordered on August 15th that the U.S. District Court of Northern District of Georgia will stay the pending further order of the undersigned of the court. So the Supreme Court has stepped in and prevented Lindsey Graham from testifying in a Georgia election probe. So we'll see if that changes. I don't know. Okay, that is all of the political news. Whoops. Okay, I want to hand it over to you. Can you tell me what's going on here? And let me get rid of these
I
disgusting
didn't want to
ghouls.
talk about it too long. I just wanted to point this out because I'm a radio DJ that this English radio broadcaster died on the air. I don't think it was yesterday, but I think it was the other day. He was a morning show guy like me, and
wow.
he had a suspected heart attack on the air. He'd been a radio guy for 30 years. This is my 27th or 28th year working in radio. I started when I was 18.
Oh man. Wow, really? You got on the air at 18?
Yeah. I got my first job at 18. I was midnight weekends. So I came in on Friday night at about 11:30 and worked midnight to 6 to Saturday and midnight to 6 on Sunday. And I just played oldies music, oldies rock and roll, anything from the Beach Boys and the Beatles to Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. It was a great oldies station. So that's where I had, man, I can't tell you how awesome that was at 18 years old. But it really got in my blood. I'm a DJ. I'm a radio. And I like how in England they say presenter, as you'll see there.
Oh, really?
A radio presenter who died while on the air has been described as a warm, caring, fun guy who's loved. And that's funny when I saw that radio presenter, because I kind of joked about that last weekend, Ashley's class reunion, and we were there, and she kept introducing me, and she would say, "Oh, my name's Andy." She'd say, "Andy's a DJ. Andy's a DJ. Andy's a DJ." She said that so many times that at one of those times that she said that, I was like, "I think you need to clarify that I'm not a picky DJ, and I'm more of a blah 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 blah. That was Tony Braxton. Here's
an interesting factoid about this artist, and go.
I'm a radio DJ. I was like, that's right. Much different than like I'm sure they're picturing me with a giant freaking head on going.
Yeah. With a helmet with lights on it and strobe and stuff.
So he died on the air. The music stopped for a while. And then several minutes later, the music came back on. So I know what happens behind the scenes. He had a heart attack. The music stopped. Somebody that was listening in the building's like, why did Tim stop the music? What's wrong with Tim? They walk in there after a few minutes when the music don't stop, and they see him slumped over. So they run in there and check on him. They hit the button. It wasn't like they go in there. I know this. If somebody were in here, I would go and start hitting them, but I would reach over and just hit play. One little to keep the radio going. That way I don't have to concentrate on that at all anymore. I've just let's get this. So, or it might have been two.
He was 55 years old. And doesn't that seem, especially now that you're in your 40s, that is so young.
Yeah,
man. So young.
But he worked for Radio Orwell, and they had it was called Gen X Radio. When it said that in the Gen X Radio, I was like, oh, some Gen Xer died. No, that was the name of the radio station. But Radio Orwell over in England, I think that's cool. Orwell.
Yeah, pretty neat. I mean, so
I'm not going to speculate why he died. He was just that's craziness, huh?
Here's the thing here. The fact is, like, any of us could get our button turned off or a switch turned off at any time. Anytime. You don't know what it could be.
When it is your time to go, it's your time to go.
straight be walking down the street and fall over dead. You could get hit by a car. I mean,
Yeah.
you just don't know. And so, oh, great. There's gay stuff in ads on this page. I didn't see that. No, I have seen it. Didn't want to see that. All right. Hey, do you love Star Wars?
I've never seen Star Wars.
Never seen Star Wars.
I'm watching. I almost got done with Andor.
Oh, are you? Is it good? Hey, let me tell you what. Let me.
Watch it. I'm not going to say anything, but just watch it.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'll go back. I'll do what you did. I'll start over.
Yeah. That's
Now that House of the Dragon is ended for the season, which was amazing, Deacon. It was incredible. Really? Yes, dude. Yes. Game of Thrones House of the Dragon is like, it's the only good show I've seen this year. It's amazing.
Huh.
The reason why I ask is because if you have seen Star Wars, you may know of a character, Luke Skywalker, who was portrayed by Mark Hamill, legendary actor known for playing for playing Luke Skywalker. And also the Joker on a cartoon.
Was Luke Skywalker the one in the show that was the little whiny bitch?
Yeah. For sure. You watch the movie and you're like, oh, this is neat. I'm going to land far, far away. And there's this whiny little asshole.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, no, you know what? And you know what? He starts whiny. And then by the end of the series, he's like, hey, he really grew up.
But you know what? You got to hand it to Mark Hamill because he played Luke Skywalker just how Luke Skywalker's father, Anakin Skywalker, was, and he did it without Anakin even knowing how Anakin Skywalker was. You know what I mean? Anakin was a little whiny bitch too, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, yes, he was. Okay. Well, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it turns out Mark Hamill is sending drones to Ukraine to use against the evil empire. Okay. All right. So actor Mark Hamill has seen the fighting in Ukraine from afar and decided to pitch in to help. To that end, he has put his hand in his pocket and to send funds to buy 500 drones for Kyiv, destined to take on a variety of military and civil tasks against the invading Russians that he says represent the evil empire. So I don't really have anything to say about that other than like, okay, well, that's your money, your business. I am far happier that I'm far happy. Oh, you did? You missed it. Mark Hamill.
I had to go when you said Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Mark Hamill is sending 500 drones to use against the evil empire.
Okay.
So if a private citizen wants to send his money to buy drones in Kyiv and Ukraine or whatever, I am 100% down for that. Do that with your money, Mark. Stop doing that with the United States government money.
No shit. That's exactly right, man. Stop doing it with our money.
Yeah, do it with your money. I am 100% support you.
Send them shit. Use your money. Send them stuff, man. Yeah, absolutely. Mark Hamill, send some more.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of these drone footage that these drones and stuff dropping these bombs and killing these people and stuff and whatnot. And that's the new war, man.
It is.
You're not going to have soldiers on the ground anymore as much. I mean, you're going to have.
It's going to be drones versus drones, and then drones just killing people.
Yeah, kids that are first place in Battlefield and Call of Duty. You know.
Yeah, murdering people on the internet, feeling nothing about it, nothing about dropping bombs in holes against the evil Russians. Most of those are conscripts, right? Like they don't want to be there.
Yeah, they don't want.
They're only there because their own side will kill them. And I'm not defending them. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of young Russian men that are in Ukraine,
older Russian men
and older ones that don't want to be there. They didn't have a choice.
They didn't have a choice. I'm not defending Russia. I'm just
kill
out the fucking
kill them like it's on a video game.
But and when I used to play Battlefield all the time, there was in our squad we had a guy that was on Battlefield 3. You could log on. He was the number 3 headshot guy in the world. He was just super freaking accurate, and he was in our squad. And then the other dude was an unbelievable tank and helicopter pilot. I I mean, he was good on the ground, but you put him in a tank in a helicopter, and he could just go through places that you wouldn't think you could get that helicopter into. He was so
Okay.
good at manipulating that controller. Okay, is what I'm
Uh-huh.
getting at. And we played along with these guys. I was like the medic, and I kept them alive. And my buddy played support. He kept them resupplied, and we were a good squad.
Okay.
So what I'm getting at is there are people out here, and I played Battlefield for years. I've seen some unbelievable helicopter pilots and tank pilots and stuff on there. And that's all it takes to pilot one of these things is that initial know-how with your hand-eye coordination.
Absolutely.
So yeah, these kids now are going to become 20 years old. Yeah, it is.
Okay. So I
like
mean,
you said, they're not going to have any feeling. It's going
they're
to be
not. They're going to be totally detached from the thing that they're doing out there, especially if they're like way out there. So they're not going to feel this. Yeah, they're not going to feel the boom, the splat. They're not going to see the splatter. They're just going to there's be like word drop and then like boop boop. Let's all boop on screen.
They're not going to have that emotion,
No.
that's going to.
So we are. And this is only going to get worse. How long until it's like, oh, okay, we have drones, but like you have to have one pilot per drone, so it makes a little more sense to have AI drive the drones. I mean, like we are like inching towards some like some dystopian like.
Have you seen some of the drone firework displays? Some of the drone displays that they have now.
I have seen some where they fly around, they change the colors, and they draw shapes in the skies.
I saw a picture the other day. Deacon showed me that it was an old building in England, I think, and it was like an old church that had been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years that had fallen down, and they used the drones to outline how the church used to look. So there's the ruins of the church.
Wow.
They had used the drones. There was hundreds of them to outline the big church. It was really cool. And it's just the application and the AI for drones anymore is it's getting scary. Skynet is almost operational.
I mean, it's so obvious that's where we're going. We're going to put machines. Oh, but it's okay. There's a guy in charge of the machine that's in charge of the machines. Okay. Until that guy is not in charge of the machine anymore. And it's just like two AI driven drone armies fighting each other and dropping grenades and blowing stuff up everywhere.
Like that old Voyager episode I've referenced, Star Trek Voyager episode that I referenced, where they come across those two robots factions that are fighting each other, and they come to find out the people that made them had died millions and millions of years ago, and the robots are just still fighting each other.
I mean, we're almost about to live in a Philip K. Dick story. That's what that's going to be. I mean, I remember reading so many Philip K. Dick short stories about like, oh, there's this story that he did where these people are out there just scrounging around, and there is this automated auto factory thing that transports these trucks. It's supposed to transport goods back and forth from these different places, but there was a war a long time ago, so the thing is just doing its thing. It doesn't matter that there's not people there anymore. It won't stop and give out any goods to any people. It's just going. So I mean, anyway, Philip K. Dick, pretty awesome. You guys should go read some of the stories. Yeah. He was a person that was really concerned about I mean, one, he did a lot of like pot and LSD, so he was a little bit psychotic in that regard, but he was really concerned about the advance of technology and it overtaking humanity. So, all right. Oh, Deacon's gotta go. And we'll see if he comes back. I don't know. No. Guys, let me catch up on chat. Let's see here. Supreme Court ruled that. Oh, I'm bringing it back, Deacon. I didn't know what was going on. Supreme Court ruled
on the door.
Oh, okay. Supreme Court had ruled. This is back into an earlier story that the police have no responsibility to protect anyone. Why are police mottos so often protect and serve? Hey,
I thought that was a movie thing.
Mottos are just that's just marketing. Yeah, that's just marketing. Let's see. Democracy on the ballot. No, it's not.
I'm sorry. I'll say that again. I don't trust the police. I just don't.
Well, I mean, like, there's a lot of good police. And
I'll agree that there are some good
and
police officers. There's some. I won't say a lot. I'll say there's some.
and there's a lot of police that will just follow orders. And when
Mhm.
it comes down to politicians in your city saying, "Oh, we believe in freedom and all of this, and free speech, and we believe you have a right to protest, but we have like a public health emergency, so we need you all to stay in your houses. The police will enforce it." So, they are good guys until they're used by bad guys, and
I don't think that either. I think there are some good guys, but I think there are a lot of bad guys
oh,
that
for sure.
that have taken this responsibility that we have given them and this control that we've given them, and they fucking completely abuse it to the point that they don't care. And then when they get caught, they have a whole goddamn fraternity of brothers that back their asses.
Yep.
And don't want to get their asses in trouble. And that is a problem. That's the problem in America. I'm sorry, that's a problem. And if
It's
you
not good.
think it's a problem, you're a part of the problem. I mean, honestly. So, I mean, that's just how I feel. And you're right. There are some good police officers, and I know some good police officers. I also know some personal people that I've known my whole life that are police officers, and they're fucking pieces of shit.
Mm-hmm. They want the latitude to be able to exercise their violent tendencies for some reason that is justified socially.
And I know a police officer who was adamantly against. He was a detective, and then he done some stupid shit and got fucking fired and whatnot. So, and then he was adamantly against all this. He was hardcore fucking police guy. You can just imagine, what he was.
Yeah.
Right? Hardcore. And his son, who is now in his 20s, was having some grand mal seizures, bad seizures, falling down steps at school and shit. And it was really, really bad. Really bad.
Okay.
And they had tried everything for this poor boy for seizures. And after he had gotten out of he wasn't a law enforcement officer anymore. I was talking to him, and he was like, "Oh," I was asking him how his son was. He's like, "Oh, he's doing a lot better. He hadn't had a seizure in a long time, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh, you're on some new medicine?" He was like, kind of, yeah, his son's in his 20s now. He was like, "Yeah, he's taking marijuana." I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Yeah, blah, blah, blah." And we had tried everything to stop these seizures. And he had fallen down the steps at house and broke his arm or done something. And he was just at their wits' end. And so they tried it, and he hadn't had a seizure since. And he was like, "It completely changed my mind. Completely changed my mind."
Yeah.
Well,
after a full career of busting teenagers and stuff.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else?
No, that's all I got lined up for today. I think tomorrow is Wednesday. So, look at us. We're on time, sir. Wow.
We got werewolf. We doing our werewolf.
Yeah, let's do werewolves.
Our main werewolf movie tomorrow. Our number one scary werewolf movie.
I'm gonna have to go and find some more werewolf movies.
I've got it right here.
You got yours?
I know what my number one scary werewolf movie is, and my number one scary movie of all time is.
Okay. Oh, I mean, I thought I did pretty good last week with Wolf, Jack Nicholson one.
That was a good one.
Great. So
I've got one that's me and my younger brothers, me and my only brother's favorite werewolf movie of all time. It's his favorite scary movie.
Let me see if I can come up with something and subvert expectations. Maybe I can come in with one, and you guys will be like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." I don't know. It's a challenge.
If you do that, you might come up with mine, because mine is one of those. As soon as
really?
I say it, you're going to be like, "Oh, I remember that."
Oh, I just had an idea. Oh, okay.
All
right. I hope it's not the same one. Oh, you get to go first. Okay. All right. Well, that's all we got this morning, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching, for hitting the subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, I realize you watch on YouTube because it's so convenient. It's so easy. But you can also go to rumble.com/JJW. It's right up there, and hit the little Rumble button. That's cool. It's good. All right. That's all we got. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Be nice to each other. Bye, dads.